What is up, boys and girl? Today I'm going to be talking about Last Epoch. This video is going to be a little bit different from my usual content. It's not going to be a build guide or anything hyper specific. For the most part, it's just going to be me yapping. I've been playing this game for a long time now, pretty much since the Kickstarter, so 6, 7, 8 years now, and Path of Exile players just keep asking me, why do I come back to this game? Why do I play it? What are the systems that I really believe in? And for the most part, it boils down to three things that I would like to point out in this game. It's going to be the crafting system. Spoiler, it's really good. It's going to be deterministic progression that I really believe in and miss a lot in PoE. And this one might be a surprise for some of you guys, but it's the campaign. And I suppose I can start with the campaign, as it's pretty much the simplest of subjects. I've been a proponent of no skipping the campaign in PoE 1 for the longest time. I'm a huge fan of speedrunning, and Last Epoch technically doesn't have a campaign skip unless your friend is willing to help you do it. But there are some steps that you can take, like the dungeon skips, that will allow you to get to the end game, which in this case is monoliths, in about 20, 30 minutes, an hour, if you want the entirety of your campaign completed, which obviously you can do that as a non-experienced player. In PoE, if you're a non-experienced player, you're probably taking like 10 hours in the campaign. If you're an experienced player, you're still taking 4, 5, maybe 6. And it's not really something that I ever thought that I'm going to say, because I feel very strongly about not being able to skip the campaign in PoE 1. But I feel like Last Epoch does it extremely well, and it makes it so that rerolling my next character, or whenever I die on hardcore, rolling that next character is that much simpler, because I always find myself in the end game that much sooner compared to other ARPGs. God forbid I mentioned PoE 2, which obviously that campaign is that's that's an intense experience, which I like. But sometimes if you really just want to get in and out, Last Epoch's simplicity in general is something that I like a lot. But when it comes to getting to the end game, it's just so quick and so straightforward. So that's going to be number one, which I intended to talk about in the third place, but here we go. The next thing is going to be the crafting system. So this is a system that I've believed in forever. I mean, most people seem to be, at least for Path of Exile, haters of the deterministic crafting. And I gotta say, I really love it, I'm one of those players that misses the initial implementation of Harvest. Like, yeah, it was a little bit overpowered, they needed to cut back on some things. But the way that Harvest works now versus the way that it worked initially, it's a night and day difference. And Last Epoch, I think, does crafting better than any other ARPG. And pretty much the entire game and all of its so far expansions or new leagues are built around this system, with this most recent one with the Woven faction really tying everything together so nicely. But again, if you're a PoE player, how does this work? So all you have to do is you pick up items. Items have affixes, just like in Path of Exile, and they also have this thing called forging potential. So you can use this forging potential to modify the affixes on your items. So in my case, the current intelligence on this pair of boots is tier 3. It rolls between 3 to 4 intelligence, and I can use all of these different modifiers to increase my chances, reroll it into something else, do all sorts of other things, seal the affix, which is kind of like fracturing in PoE. But if I want to level it up, all I have to do is click this, and I only lost 1 forging potential. I got really lucky because, well, you guys actually can't see, but there's a chance that it's going to cost me between 1 to 24 forging potential, and it only cost me 1. So I got really lucky, and I improved this modifier. And you might think to yourself, wow, it's so easy to just make incredibly good items. You just want OP gear. What's the big deal? Well, no, that's not exactly how it works, because if you have unique items in the game, which you're going to be using a lot of unique items, they have this thing called legendary potential, which then allows you to take these affixes from a rare item, or more so an exalted item, which on a rare item you can only have up to tier 5, but an exalted item is tier 6 or tier 7 affixes. And you can then take that and put it onto a unique item, creating unique items such as this one, which means that normally this item doesn't have the 59 minion melee damage and minion spell damage, but this item had 1 legendary potential, and I put a tier 7 exalted affix onto my item, which then resulted in this unique item having rare affixes. And it honestly makes for a really cool system. It ties the entire game incredibly well with the way that Last Epoch's endgame works. You've got all of these different new systems that you can utilize, and all of these different factions to increase your chances of obtaining certain items. And that pretty much ties us into the third thing, which is deterministic progression. I feel like I always have a very concise direction, I suppose, as to what I need to do and where I need to go, who I need to kill to get my stuff, or at the very least increase the chances of getting my stuff. So if you're a solo self-found player or a non-trading player, I suppose, because there's two factions. There's the trading faction called the Merchants Guild and the non-trading faction called Circle of Fortune. You can kill monsters, get favor, and through the use of favor, you can get prophecies, which then increase the chances of you getting a specific type of item that you're looking for. So for instance, I wanted unique boots. So now I need to do Monolith 100 Corruption, which is easy peasy. And then through just natural gameplay, I will then be killing exiled mages. And these exiled mages will be dropping me unique boots. And yeah, this isn't exactly deterministic, but it's definitely skewing the odds in my favor. And I can get specific types of prophecies for specific things that I'm looking for, which makes this system super nice in that sense. Then you've also got the boss killing. So if you go on over to, unfortunately, Last Epoch Tools or any other website having this sort of information, you've got different timelines. So these are the different types of end game templates, I should say. And in the different templates, you've got exclusive echo rewards. So you can find echoes that will give you unique or set bow or quiver if I run full of the outcasts, which is really nice if I need those items, right? There's another way to increase the odds of me potentially getting the thing that I'm really looking for. So in my case, for instance, the Last Ruin is one that's particularly interesting because Last Ruin has a boss. These different timelines have different boss rewards, right? So you've got the different timelines over here, and each one of these has a unique boss that has unique drops with unique properties. So in my case, the Ravenous Void is an incredibly rare item, but I can kill this boss to have a 4.5% chance to drop it, which these are the worst odds that you can get on any item. A lot of these items have a 50% chance to drop. And you can also, through different ranks of your Circle of Fortune, increase the amount of these drops that you're getting. And you can really make it so that at the very least, the baseline of your items, you're always going to be able to get. So now let's say that I really want these gloves. So I'm running this timeline. I'm running for this boss specifically. I'm doing prophecies that drop me gloves. And then eventually I get the gloves. I have a multitude of ways of modifying them. So I can either empower them with a nemesis if they don't have any legendary potential, or I can have a legendary potential and I can craft immediately onto them utilizing the crafting system. We also have a new system with another endgame faction called the Woven, which I can then take and put it onto different modifiers that then allows me to drop these gloves from like other types of content on top of everything. It's just one of those things where the more you play and the better idea you get, the more you want to come back for every single season. And I especially feel like with this recent release, They really did an amazing job gluing everything together. You know, the biggest problem that I had with Last Epoch for the longest time was the fact that every system felt really separate from one another, and through that, farming monoliths, many people criticized the game that it was just boring. And I personally fell into that camp where I was saying, you know, this like objective based killing monoliths thing, it's kind of like mapping, but it's not as interesting. It's not doing it for me. And I gotta say that since they've been implementing all of these end game systems, the gameplay really got enhanced quite a lot, and I've been enjoying it tremendously, which, you know, you can see with my many recent streams that have reached past the 24-hour mark. So these are the main things that I really like about Last Epoch. Obviously, there's a lot of other ones. So I guess at the end of the day, it's a little bit of a promo video for anybody who's looking to play something between, you know, PoE 1 or PoE 2. Maybe you're just a little bit bored and you're looking to try out something new. I think Last Epoch is a really great game to look into right now. And if you are looking for that more deterministic experience, or you like to reroll, or you just enjoy a really lengthy long-term progression, Last Epoch might just be the thing for you right now. But yeah, thanks for listening to my yapment. Hope to see you guys in the next one, and enjoy some video games, gamers.